Good morning everybody, Shift Your Mindset here. New video of today, how to heal from being a Jehovah Witness for maybe most of your lifetime. This is for all the people who are planning to step out of the religion, who are maybe PMO, making the steps outside of the religion, but it's also a good one for the people who are recently out or maybe longer out of the religion. So it's basically a good video for everybody who's watching. How to heal from the JW religion. We all have a past. We all have experienced a lot of things as a JW. And I'm extremely proud of anyone who's making the steps towards their own freedom, like I did. And I was thinking about this video because I see a lot of people still struggling with the whole past of being a JW. And I understand it completely because I had also had to go through all the phases, what's coming with exiting a cult or religion you're familiar with your whole life. So this video is for all of us, and I hope it sparks a conversation, but also a realization moment for yourself. Where am I now in life, and what's a point in life I can improve or change, or you feel so comforting to hear this, and maybe we can share it with other people who are still struggling with things. And I've written down a few points how to heal from the organization. It's just based on my own experience, also my coaching practice. I see a lot of JWs who I coach who are struggling with these points, so I wanted to share it with everybody of you. And the first thing is that you have to realize that cults are narcissistic. Narcissistic person doesn't show empathy, doesn't show real interest in you. Only their point of view. So they see life through their own lens. There's no room for other one's opinions. And that's exactly what's happening in the JW religion. There's no room for your opinion. There's no room for a view through your lens. So it's impossible to reason with those kind of people. And we all notice that if we have another view on something, you're out. And that's typical for narcissistic people. There's only one way or the highway. So that's one of the points, because most of us are still people pleasers after we leave the Jehovah Witnesses, because we are used to another man's view, another organization's view, and it's only that view what counts. So we're still maybe struggling with people pleasing and boundaries, but that's one later. The second one is many people are still ashamed of themselves. Shaming is still a thing. Because maybe we were ashamed by other people because of our talents, because of our skills, or how we looked, or how we behaved in the congregation. There was no room for your own identity. So most of us who left the religion are still ashamed of so much, because the whole organization is based on appearance. Physical appearance, because if you go to the convention, you see the new suits, the new shoes, the the brands, and maybe you don't have that money to get that nice suit or whatever, and it's always a comparison between each other. And it's not about the appearance physically only, but it's also the spirituality appearance. People always wanted to be a step higher than another person, know something more, memorizing scriptures from the head, and you think, oh, I have so much trouble memorizing one scripture, and he's giving me 10 scriptures out the top of the head. So it's all about appearances. And I see a lot of people, a basic example, I see a lot of people during my coaching in those few years, I see a lot of people even hiding their own smile. They never smile. They never laugh out loud, LOL. If I ask someone, scream as hard as you can, they freeze, because we are not allowed to express our true self, because it's all about appearances. And we adjust our own appearance to the appearance of the religion, the mass, the amount of people around us. So stop being ashamed of who you are and just let us see who you are, with your smile, with your unique talent, with your unique gifts, with your quirkiness, whatever it is. Just show us the real you. The third one, and I had I had a lot of trouble with it, is boundaries have to be learned after you leave the religion. Because in the religion there are no boundaries. People are interfering with your life. People interfering with the way you dress. People interfere with how much you are praying. People interfere with your education. People interfere with everything. And it's like a stampede. You're run over by all the other people in your congregation in that religion. So what I see is that we have difficulties with setting boundaries. And setting boundaries is healthy. But in the JW, there was no room for a boundary. Because in a cult, it's us, and it's not about me and you. And that's one thing we have to learn. It's about me and it's about you. And it's my duty to say what my boundaries are. And if you're stepping over my boundaries, it's my lesson to be learned to say what my boundaries are. It's love for yourself, but it's also love for the other person. Number 4, the gaslighting. You're never good enough. They are always trying to weaponize scriptures. They are always telling us that there's something wrong with us instead of something wrong with the organization or with that other person or whatever. It links to narcissism, but it was my first point. But it's about not trusting you, but it's about trusting them. It's all gaslighting, because it all starts with trusting yourself. A cult, number 4, learns helplessness. We are always relying on others. We always thought to rely on others, to rely on Jehovah, to rely on the elders, to rely on the pioneer, to rely on whatever, but never rely on yourself. So that's the one thing we have to learn when we leave the religion, or we are planning to leave the religion, is that we're not helpless. We're not helpless at all. So we have to learn to do things for ourselves, for yourself. And that's an important one. And maybe you think, it's a bit selfish or whatever. That's a natural feeling. I had it also. But you are not helpless, and you have to learn to take care of yourself. The sixth one, we have to deal with the effects of sexual repression. Repression, I say it good. Because there's not room for being yourself in a sexual way. Maybe we're struggling with homosexuality or whatever, so you always feel different. But it's also not all about homosexual feelings or whatever you could not express, but it's also between the partners. Because also the JW religion tells you how to be intimate with each other. We are not able to ride the bike before we are buying it. So you have two different individuals. I don't know how it was in your case, but in our case we weren't talking about sexual needs, about what the other person liked, whatever. That kind of conversations we never had, and I see it all around me in the JW religion. It's a thing you do, but it's not for pleasure, and it's not. Yeah, you couldn't be yourself in also a sexual relationship. And a sexual relationship is about joy. But the whole organization is not about joy, because they forbid you to do things in the bedroom. Oral sex is not allowed. The only thing is a missionary position, I believe. But they don't teach us in the JW religion how you can have joy and also a real connection between partners. Because it's not about sex, but intimacy is also about being together with a connection on a deeper level. And people, you see, when people leave the JW religion, or they shut down completely on this point, or they become hypersexual and go all the way, and I don't know what's happening then, but the balance is gone, because you rob people in this point of joy. And they're good in robbing you from joy, because nothing is about joy. They never talk about consent and stuff like that. It's all about, when you see the last videos of the training for elders, you see it's that women have to fulfill the needs of the man. So with that scripture or whatever they base it on, it's already not an equal thing in a sexual relationship. Because women have to fulfill the needs of the man, otherwise he's going to look at other women or whatever it's gonna be. So this is also a point where we can heal on, because sexual relationship is about a deeper connection and about joy. And we are allowed to experience joy. So enjoy it, people, like I do. Number 7, wishing for a family you don't have anymore. And that's a point I see a lot when I'm coaching people. They are still wishing for a family they don't have anymore. And I understand it, because I was always also one of them in the beginning. Because I wished my father had made contact with me and that it could be all right and stuff like that. So I kept on idealizing the family I had. And that's the important one. It's in the past. That family I had. So most of the time we take the best moments we had and we're denying the things that weren't healthy in that relationship that we had with our family. Because of course there are very nice things were happening in our family, but we also have to consider and think about the things who weren't healthy at all. So instead of idealizing the family we had, it's good also to have a balance, that we see, yeah, that were great moments, but these moments weren't great at all. And that's why I left. And I have every right in my bone, in my body, to feel that way. Number 8, also a process we have to go through if we want to heal from this cult, and that's a grieving process. And it's not a one-time process. In my case, it came back a few times, the grieving process, because it has to do with anger, it has to do with sadness, it has to do with fears, it has to do, in the end, with acceptance. So we go through all those stages of grieving and let it be. Don't stuff it down, don't deny it, don't make it better than it is. Just be with your feelings of grief and go through the different stages, and automatically at the end you can let it go. And it's normal to go through these stages. You're not a weirdo, you're not different than any other person in the world, but you need to go to the grieving process to heal from the trauma. The 9th one, point number 9. Healing from trauma, heal from the JW religion, can lead you to the big ex-JW community there is right now. And I only have to say, be careful about the ex-JW community. I also find support in the ex-JW community. I found support in some YouTube videos. I found some support in some topics online I could find. I found some relief, and I found some comforting in certain websites. In the beginning I was looking at JW facts about religion, what's true, what's not true. That was from my critical thinking, from my research. But we all are trauma survivors. And why I emphasize this point is it's a big community, but be careful, because it's also a community where people still living in guilt, still living in fear, and have the same mentality as a lot of JWs have. They are getting angry at each other, they're fighting each other, they are blaming other people. Also with the people, I noticed a few times now when I'm making videos that other people are jealous about me making a video about the same subject they are giving their opinion on. So there's still a lot of competition out there. There's still a lot of anger. There's still a lot of fear out there. So just watch out what you are doing in the ex-JW community, because not everybody is taking steps to freedom for themselves, to live a better life. There's still a lot of judgment, and I cannot blame them, but that's not my kind of people I want to engage with. So I'm also careful in what I'm watching. I'm not watching certain YouTube videos. It's not about bad-mouthing the organization. It's just, for me, it's important to let people, to ignite a little spark inside people to go think for themselves and make a good decision for them. And I'm just taking people with me on my journey of life, how I did it, how I go to more freedom for myself and for the others I love, and to engage with people who are also positive, who also want to learn, want to improve themselves, want to grow themselves, want to have more self-love, who set boundaries, who are just making their life more comfortable and more loving. And not all of those people who are left the organization here because they're still thinking the same way, and they're just starting another cult or another whatever, or they were never an elder in the organization and they are now proposing themselves as some kind of leader. There is no leader. Everyone is doing his own thing. Everyone walks his own path, and we can just encourage people, maybe inspire other people to go think for themselves and make well-based decisions. That's my story. And I do it in a way like the oxygen masks on a plane. First, I have to put it on myself, on my own mouth, before I can help somebody else. So it's also with you guys and with me. We first have to help ourselves before we can help other people. Also in the XJW community. Help yourself, get that fresh breath of oxygen from your freedom from the cult. Process your thinking, process every trauma you had, learn from things, explore the world, make mistakes, adjust your path, your journey in life, and then you can also help other people. But it starts with self-love. Everything outside starts with self-love, and then you can help other people. Another thing we have to learn if we want to heal from JW religion is to trust other people. And I also had a problem with that because I was not trusting anybody anymore in the beginning. Why? Because my family left me, the religion shuts me down, everything. So you get a big chunk out of you based on your trust issues. So it's good for us after we leave the religion to just trust ourselves again. And then you can trust other people. We've never learned to trust ourselves, but we have to trust our own judgment, our own opinions, our own feelings before we can trust other people. So start trusting yourself. If you haven't done it already, trust yourself now. And you will see, if you trust yourself, you see it in the outside world coming back to you. So you can trust other people. Because no one wants to take advantage of you. And if you trust yourself, you see which people want to take advantage of you or whatever. So your moral compass is straight. Being vulnerable, number 11, being vulnerable is a strength, not a weakness. And I always thought, I have to be strong and nothing can touch me, stuff like that. Because there's no room for emotions in the JW religion, so I stuffed it down. But I learned the hard way that being vulnerable is sexy, is strength, not weakness. And it may be the case that you feel a little uncomfortable in the beginning with this, because you have to shift it inside you. From the other aspect to being vulnerable is a strength. 12. People, you have a mic drop story. It's unique. It's a unique story. And please embrace that. Please embrace that you have an interesting story to tell to people. Don't fool yourself that you have to hide it or that you don't speak about it. because you had a life as a JW. Just own it. And I find it here in my surroundings, it's mind-boggling to see how people are listening to you, really listening to you, because you have such an interesting story to tell. And don't think that's a cult story. No, it's a human story of you. And people who are really interested in you want to hear your story because they can relate with your story with another, how do you call it? It's just another label. For us it was a cult, but people experience same things like no self-love, no own identity, stuff like that. They also experience it in life with another label on it. For us it was the cult. For another person maybe it's their dad or the family situation or abuse or whatever. But everyone has similar things going on in life. Just another label. Number 13, short one. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. It's an absolute need. So take care of yourself, people. Number 14 is maybe a difficult one to hear, but fix your own problems. It helps you to heal. There's no Jehovah who's gonna fix your problems. There's no praying and then magically something happens. And Jehovah sends an angel to you and gives you what you need. We are never helped by anybody in our life. But as a Jehovah Witness, you always think there's an outside source who's helping me. No, you have to be an action taker and fix your own problems. Today is your life, now is your life, so make it matter. Take control over your own life. Don't postpone things because there's a paradise coming, something is gonna fix it, or whatever you feel. We are responsible for the good and the bad things. And the bad things maybe scare you, but you don't have to be scared, because if something bad is happening, just adjust your part of life, take other decisions and make it a positive experience instead of the bad and negative experience. Number 15, it's okay to cry. There's nothing wrong with crying. I was told don't cry, men don't cry, stuff like that when I was already a young boy. Even if at the JW funerals you don't see people crying, because you do it at home when nobody sees you. But it's okay to cry, because that's also vulnerability. And vulnerability is a strength and not a weakness. So allow yourself to feel your feelings. And if you are feeling that you have to cry, just let it go, because then there is room again for other things. And if you let it go, it doesn't bother you anymore in the future. Number 17, beware of taking the blame for shunning. I see a lot of clients also who are feeling bad for being shunned, and feeling bad that they are feeling guilty that they let down their family, that they let down whoever is near to them. It's not your fault. They did it to you. You don't want to shun your loved ones. You don't want to shun your family. You don't want to shun your best friend, whatever. But they shun you. So don't take the responsibility for you being shunned. Don't feel guilty, sad or whatever about it, because it's not your problem. They did it to you. If it was you, you wanted to talk to your family. If it was you, you wanted to hang out maybe with some JWs because you have a good relationship outside of the shunning. Besides of the shunning, I mean. So it's not your fault. And number 18 is an important one to heal from the JWs, is acceptance. Let go of the hope that things could have gone differently. It has to go how it went for you. So the acceptance is you're right there where you needed to be now in life. I had to accept that my father did, with the best intentions he had at that moment, what he did. Everybody is doing with the best intentions at that moment what they are doing, you included. So accept how it is. Accept the situation for what it is. Everybody was doing at that time, with the knowledge they have, the best they could, including you. So acceptance is important. Another thing I see is don't start practicing perfectionism in your life. I see that a lot of people leaving JW religion, they want to do everything perfect. Because we come from a religion, it's black or white, it has to do with cognitive distortion. We have that perfect JW image. We have to let go of that perfect image. Don't take it into your life after you leave the religion. There is no perfect image. We experience things, we try things, some work out, some don't work out, that's fine. If it doesn't work out, just go another direction, try it again, try maybe a different approach, whatever, but we're here to experience things, we're here to experience life, and sometimes life lifts us up, sometimes life knocks us down. But if life knocks you down, if you can look up to the sky, you can still stand up. So try it with a different approach, but don't ever practice perfectionism, because then you're never gonna be fulfilled with things in life. So let go of the it's all or nothing thing, because that was the past. That was when you were a JW, it was all or nothing. Everything could be thrown away by making one mistake. But that's not life, because if we make a mistake, change your approach and you're good to go. The last one is we were all abandoned. And that we have to realize, if you want to heal from the JW religion, is we were all abandoned. And sometimes we take that with us, even if we have left the religion for years. Because I sometimes hear people, oh, I texted a person, I didn't get a text back, or not quick enough. Or I called somebody, but he didn't call me back. And we get that feeling of being abandoned, but we're never abandoned. We have to work on our self-love, because if someone doesn't call us back, we're not abandoned. Maybe they're busy, or they're having also a life. Maybe they didn't see your text or whatever. Or maybe you just have the wrong people around you. But most of the time there's a good explanation for these things. And I also had, in the beginning, a feeling of feeling abandoned. And the problem with me and the problem with this topic is I felt abandoned by my family. I didn't have anyone around me anymore. So what I was doing, I was projecting my problem, my feeling on somebody else. Because I met my current spouse, my wife, just after I left the religion. So I had no parents, I had no beautiful nephews where I was playing with every weekend. I had no sister anymore, I had no mother anymore, no father anymore. I had no social structure around me anymore because everybody was cut out of my life. So what did I do? I was hanging on my girlfriend. And I started to being a people pleaser because I had no boundaries, because I had not enough self-love. So I was throwing myself on her. I was suffocating the hell out of her. But I didn't realize it because I felt abandoned by everybody around me. Everything in my bubble was gone. So I threw myself on this relationship. This had to work. I had to maintain this relationship, otherwise I was completely alone. So you can guess what I was doing and the results of that. It was suffocating her, and she took her distance. And that was for me the sign in life that I had to be happy with me alone. Wayne Dyer says you have to be happy with the person you're alone with. That's me. So I worked on myself and I put up my boundaries. I worked on my people pleasing. Those skills I throw away because I was the best people pleaser in the world. I had learned it that way because I was a JW and we put everything outside of ourselves. So I put up boundaries. I walked, I grew a backbone. I worked on myself every day to love myself more. And if I'm alone for a day, I'm super happy. I can entertain myself when I'm alone. I don't need a phone to entertain myself. I don't need to text other people because I feel lonely. I'm happy to engage with people, but I don't need it. It's the same that I love people giving applause when you stand on the podium, but you don't need the applause. I don't need the likes on a video to feel myself good. Oh yeah, 20 likes. Oh, now I'm feeling good. Oh, because that's living an exhausting life. So people never feel abandoned because you're never alone. And like the person you're alone with, you're a wonderful, warm, everything about you is inside you. You are having the best qualities. You are fun to be with. Smile more. Live your life with better quality of life. Because you're never alone. There are always people around you who have the best interest in you. There are people, surround yourself with people who love you unconditionally. People who are there for you, even if you talk with them for months. If you have contact again, then it's pure joy. No holding grudges against each other, not memorizing all the faults in one another. Be a non-judgmental person. It makes your day a lot better and more quality for your life. Just take people as they are, because you want also that people see you for who you are. So don't feel abandoned. Don't get into the people-pleasing stuff, because you end up hurt, or there will be troubles, because it's healthy to have boundaries and not stepping over other people's boundaries, because you also don't want people to step over your boundaries. And if you have boundaries, that's self-love, and people who respect your boundaries also love your boundaries and love you as a human being. So these are just a few points how to heal from trauma, how to heal from being a JW, and maybe some tips and tricks helped you now to review your own life, or you can help somebody else who's close to you with these points, to mention to them that they can you give them a little push in the right direction to more freedom and for more loving themselves. Because if you love yourself more, you automatically love other people more. It's just inside reflection to the outside. So people, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, where maybe we can help each other with some interesting views on things, or where you struggle with, or whatever. Everybody feel free to express your feelings. Thank you for watching, and we'll see each other on the next episode.